If you're trying to use willpower to quit alcohol, you are doomed to failure. Here's why. Number one, willpower runs out. Number two, this is a thinking game, not a drinking game. I'm going to explain exactly how you can quit alcohol without using willpower, whilst I go on a little walk through the woods to try and find this coffee shop that I've been looking for weeks. Let's go. Willpower doesn't work when it comes to quitting alcohol. It's the biggest trap that most people fall into. I certainly did for the best part of 3 or 4 years trying to figure out how to crack the alcohol code. And then 12 years ago, I did do the research and realized there's a fatal flaw with willpower. It runs out. That's why everyone's tripping up that's trying to change on willpower, because here's the great secret. You don't have a drinking problem, you have a thinking problem. And the way that you outpace willpower is to not need it. And that essentially has been my message for the last 12 years, inspiring millions of people to come and join me on the fun side of the alcohol-free side of the island, is that you don't need the willpower to resist something you fundamentally don't want in the first place. Let me explain. If I wind the clock back a bit, some 15, 16 years ago, when I first started to become aware that alcohol was no longer serving me, I started to try and use willpower, that cast iron gritted teeth. I will drink less. I will drink a sparkling water. And I can't tell you how many times I would walk into the bar with my sparkling water in mind and hear the clatter of the glasses and smell the beer-soaked air, and through the noise came the question I've been asked so many times before: what would you like to drink? Now, with full confidence, I had my sparkling water in mind. I would reply, pint of Stella, please. Pint of lager. What happened to my cast iron resolve? How did I develop this biblical ability to turn water into beer? What was going on there? And for years I tripped up on this. For years I beat myself up and said I wasn't good enough and everyone else must be perfect and they've all got the willpower of a saint. There's something wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong. They're clearly better than me. I'm broken. I'm no good. And I just beat myself up for not being able to give up. But luckily, I didn't give up trying to give up, and I got really interested and intrigued. So I started to research and read and went back to university twice to do degrees and master's degrees, read every book you can think of on behavioural change, specifically around alcohol, and I figured out the secret. And the secret is this, and I'll repeat this many, many times if you come with me on these adventures. You don't need willpower to resist something you fundamentally don't want. So as we're strolling along today, I'm on my little alcohol-free adventure. I'm trying to find a little cafe by navigating all the way through the woods from my house. Will I make it? Who knows? But hopefully we will by the end of this journey. And to continue with where I was with alcohol and willpower, I was getting really frustrated to the point that I almost gave up trying to give up. But as mentioned, started to dive into the research and then found my first clue. And it was this, some brilliant research by a researcher called Baumeister. Baumeister is like the godfather of willpower research in many ways. And the way that he figured out the fatal flaw with willpower was to grab a group of participants and in front of them, he would either place radishes or cookies. Now, the group that had radishes in front of them needed no willpower to resist the radishes, as healthy as they are. But the group of participants that had the warm, juicy, straight out of the oven cookies needed a ton of willpower to resist eating these cookies, because the deal was you couldn't eat the cookies or the radishes. Now, what happened next exposed the fatal flaw of willpower, and it was this. Next, each of those groups of participants was put into a room and asked to solve a puzzle. But this was a puzzle with a difference, and I like these kind of puzzles because they sort of make me laugh a little bit. The secret to this puzzle is that it was impossible to solve. So this is a really standard metric that science uses to test people's resolve, their willpower effectively. How long will they last before they just give up, right, and go, this puzzle's impossible, I give up. So the group that went in first were the radish people. The radish people, if that's such a thing, the people that had the radishes in front of them, they lasted 12 minutes, let's say. And then they put in the group that have been placed in front of those warm, juicy, succulent cookies. They lasted 8 minutes less on the impossible puzzle task. What that shows us is that their willpower tanks had run dry because of the temptation that they had to resist of the warm cookie. So by the time they got to the impossible puzzle test, they didn't have the willpower to go anywhere near as long as those that were in front of the radishes. So it exposed the fatal flaw. Willpower is like a metaphorical muscle. The more you use it, the quicker it runs out. That is why if you've been trying to make change on willpower alone when it comes to alcohol, or any change for that matter, is always doomed to failure. Because at some point you'll be tired, stressed, hungry. You've just had a busy day and a day of resisting the willpower, maybe to shout at the boss or the kids, or stressful travel, and all of a sudden your willpower tanks are empty. And all of a sudden the willpower that you've been using to resist the drink is no longer there. You take the drink, like I would. You take the drink and then you beat yourself up for not having any willpower. There's something wrong with you, you're broken, and on that downward spiral continually. Whereas the secret, because this is what I know, having been alcohol free for 12 years and inspired millions of people through all the different initiatives that I've been involved in, you don't have a drinking problem, you have a thinking problem. Because willpower really is linked to what you think. I'll explain that to you now. Let's think about willpower from a different angle. I guarantee it, you might have beat yourself up for not having the willpower to change your relationship with alcohol, but I bet there's things in your life that other people would require a ton of willpower to achieve, and you do easily. It's interesting, isn't it? Maybe you don't require the willpower of a saint to resist the temptation to shout at the kids when someone else is like draining all of their willpower resources not to do so. Maybe you don't require any willpower to resist the temptation to smoke when there are millions and millions of people all over the world right now draining every ounce of their willpower to resist the temptation not to smoke. Therefore, logically, it's not a willpower issue that's going on here. Clearly, you've got it in different domains of your life. It is a thinking issue, and that's why it's not a drinking issue. I'll explain. If we look at ambivalence inside the brain, this is what causes willpower. Good old-fashioned love-hate. When we still hold a flame for alcohol, there's a little love on the side of alcohol. Maybe it's the thing that you've used in the past to help you relax, de-stress, socialize, unwind. Yet on the other side, the hate side for alcohol, there's the hangovers that are hanging around for days, the underperformance, the lethargy, the tiredness, the lack of ambition, the weight that's been piled on, the drudgery, the can't be askedness, the underperformance in the office, how you want to show up as a parent and a partner. That list is huge, by the way, but let's say that fight is happening inside your mind all the time. And whilst there is a love-hate fight, i.e. there's ambivalence, you need willpower to resist the temptation because it's always there on that love side. Now, here's the hack. And this is essentially what I do through all of these videos and all of the podcasts and initiatives and documentaries that I've been involved in for the last 12 years since going alcohol free. I am trying to train your brain because this is a thinking problem, not a drinking problem. And by training your brain to the hate side for alcohol, or flip that around, and the love side for being alcohol free, you don't need any willpower. Because once that battle is over, there's no willpower required to resist something you fundamentally don't want in the first place. Think of it like this. Maybe you've got that particular food that at one point in your life you overindulged in. Maybe it was during your childhood. It certainly was for me. Mine was marzipan. I would come home, I was a professional footballer at the time. Clearly we didn't have a very good nutritionalist at the club, and I would come home and buy slabs, yes, slabs of marzipan, and I would just eat it until one day it made me physically ill. You can imagine, right? Makes sense. I can't even go near marzipan right now. So I require absolutely zero willpower to resist marzipan because I can't stand it. So think of something you can't stand. There'll be that food, I'm sure, within your life. That's what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, where before you had the love-hate thing going on, maybe with marzipan or that particular food, now it's like no interest, no willpower. The secret to lasting change when it comes to alcohol-free, or any change for that matter, is to train your brain to not want it. And when you don't want something in the first place, you don't need willpower to resist it. Therefore, change is easy. This is the secret to unleashing the alcohol-free advantage, to loving your life on the fun side of the island. Because why would you drink? That's how my mind is trained. And that's what I'm trying to do for you, in the sense that, why would I do something that takes away my time? It's going to make me put on a lot of weight, 3 stone 42 pounds. It's going to raise my resting heart rate from athlete 41 all the way back up to 68, where it was when I was drinking. Why am I going to drink something that's going to make me less of a man, in my opinion, less of the partner and husband I want to be, less of the parent that I want to be? It's going to make me underperform in every domain. It's going to create anxiety and panic attacks inside my life like it did. Why the hell would I drink that? For what? A bit of sociability or some fake relaxation, which actually doesn't equate to relaxation, and I'll get to that in another one of these conversations. Why would I? So that ambivalence has gone. There is no ambivalence. Therefore, it becomes easy. This is the secret to lasting change and loving your life on the fun side of the island. But there's one more thing you need to know, and I need to find this cafe, hopefully, before we get there. By going alcohol free, you're going to gift yourself the greatest performance enhancer of life. This is what I've been talking about, really, and why I do this for the last 12 years. Because going alcohol free is a gift to how you show up in the world. You can connect with your authentic self once more. That tiredness, that drudgery, that can't be arseness, maybe the weight that's piled on, and that quelling of your ambition, that's not you. That's not your authentic self. That's the drug that is alcohol that's been holding you back all these years, and you didn't even realize it. It's the greatest trap ever invented for humans. And when you remove it, it's the greatest gift you will give yourself, your family, your energy, your authenticity, and that ambition will come bouncing back. That time, that zest, that quest to go on adventures and love life and live life on the fun side of the island. That is why I do this, because it's the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. And I'm completely biased. I just got a little knee kick. You can't see the knee kicks. That is when I get really excited. That is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. That's why I've been doing this for 12 years, continually, daily, because I know the wins that it can bring to you if you're a middle lane drinker, by just taking a break. And all you got to do is come and join me. Follow along, subscribe, whatever you need to do, and come with me on these little adventures. And in doing so, you will come and live life on the fun side of the island with me. And then you will know for yourself what it feels like to be your optimal, best, authentic self. Then you won't need me to tell you anymore or show you anymore. And then you can go out into the world and inspire more people. And collectively, we can change the lives of millions and millions of people. I think we've made it. We've nailed it. There is the cafe. Until next time, keep rocking it on your alcohol-free adventures. My name is Andy Ramage, and I shall see you soon.